Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings, and welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. It is August 14th, 2019, and we thank you for tuning into episode 94 of the Nintendo Shack podcast. My name is Donnie Reese, and I am joined this evening, as I am most evenings, by Miss Caroline. What's up, girl? How you doing?
Hi. I'm well. We have to thank our patrons, and I just want to preface, the reason I stopped doing the haikus is because everybody got their own individual haiku. They're not easy to come up with, actually, off the spur of the moment. So I asked last week, what do you guys want to hear now? And the Winter Gamer answered the call and said he wanted me to start a new tradition, which is ragging on Donnie in the beginning of this. And
I don't get enough for this from Kevin. I got to deal with this.
Kevin jumped on board. Devin jumped on board.
You were the chosen one. You're the one. You're my chosen one, and now you're going to turn on me?
I have to.
Et tu, Brute?
All right, so I'm ragging on you right now. Why are you wearing a long sleeve shirt in the middle of August?
Because it stormed, as you know, because we're both here in Atlanta, and it's been storming. I sent you a picture of the giant tree that fell.
Yeah, you're the one who last night it was so hot in your house that you slept in the car.
I didn't want to tell this story, but yes, we lost power last night for 6 hours. Yesterday was the hottest day of the year here in Atlanta, and we were without power from 10 to 3:30 in the morning, and it was like 87 degrees out at like midnight. It was super hot. So Melissa and Jack, they slept just fine. They rolled over, no problem. No fan, no air conditioning. They're getting the job done. Me and Victoria were both staring at each other at like 1 in the morning, like, we're going to kill each other. Like, we have to do something. And I was like, let's just go get in the car. So I turned the air conditioner on. And long story short, I didn't sleep much. I have not slept much.
But
okay.
You're probably feeling like 90 degrees right now in your
No. Okay. So the reason that this is, I came home in the rain, in the storm. My dog Link is out in the cage. The cage is flooded. I walk out there. He's in his igloo, which is sitting in the middle of a puddle. And he gets out and he's just drenching wet.
Poor baby.
So the clothes that I was wearing when I got him out is covered in mud and water. And I threw on what I had, which was this sweater and some shorts. So it was just what was on the ground when I picked them up. It was what was nearby.
Are you not burning up?
No, actually, I'm pretty cool. The air conditioning came back. The fans are on them.
It's a dark, long sleeve shirt, guys. Like
it's not like but it's not like a sweater. It's like a long john. It's like a pajama.
So that's like even warmer. It's supposed to keep you warm in the winter.
I feel cozy. Thank you very much. I don't like this segment at all. By the way, I don't appreciate this. Is a gross misuse of Shaq.
Get used to it.
This is ridiculous. Anyway, thank you. Is he even a patron? Like he just no, I know he is, but he's not even at the patron producer level. Why are we letting him input? He's the only one that answered the call, and input.
And our own people jumped on board. I can't deny them that.
Thank you, Callow. Thanks, Josh, Chris, Devin, Kyle, Benji, Paul, and Joel for supporting us over there at patreon.com/PSVG. Where you can support us for $1 a month, get DLC, get the Patron of the Month Club, get all kinds of good, awesome stuff. Caroline, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. Now, for the last 2 weeks, apparently it's fallen on some ears that we've talked about Fire Emblem too much.
Too much.
As if there was such a thing. You know who says that? Fake Fire Emblem fans.
Oh,
that's who says that.
Called out.
That's who says that. There is no such thing as too much Fire Emblem.
Called out.
That's ridiculous.
I agree.
Yes, Kevin.
Top 3 favorite franchises.
We heard you go on and on and on.
Tom Servo today said, when do I know that the Fire Emblem craze is over? When 1 out of 50 posts in the Discard are actually not Fire Emblem related? Come on, guys.
The sad part is, Kevin hasn't stopped playing his little 2.5 minute circle, wash, rinse, and repeat Fortnite game, Apex game, long enough to play a game for 40 hours that would warrant talking about it for more than 5 minutes on a podcast.
Snap.
So, let's just say that. I love Lucas, though. Lucas is great. We all love Lucas. Isn't he like everybody's like uncle? Everybody's like, yeah, Lucas is great. And then we all take shots at everybody else.
He's a little bit too gross for an uncle.
Ooh. He's like your step uncle? It's like you married an uncle?
No, Lucas is that weird cousin that you just like. You're like, yeah, we're cool, but you don't.
You're
want
not sure
anybody
if he's
to know
actually a
about
part of the family or not. Like, he might just
Yeah.
be somebody's friend that they brought in one time. And
Yeah, but you don't like you like are cool with him, but you don't want to affiliate with him because he got some weird stuff going on.
don't want to affiliate with him. I like that. That's Lucas.
I love Lucas.
All right. We've talked about Fire Emblem a ton. Now, I beat the game, and we're going to share those stories. But
We're
the reason
really
why we're
going
taking
to
a
rag on
different
Donnie
path,
later, guys.
the reason that we're taking a different path is we're going to save it to the end of the show. We're not going to talk about Fire Emblem right now at the top of the hour, because we're going to talk possibly about some spoilers. We're going to talk about some story details, some differences in our paths, and I guess some final thoughts or reviews or however you want to call that.
Final for you.
impressions.
I'm still playing.
Right. So we're going to save that to the end of the show. So if you're interested in that, do that. We'll give a spoiler warning. If you don't want to do it, or if you want to save it till later, you don't have to not listen to the show because of that. So besides Fire Emblem Three Houses, what have you been playing?
Nothing! I am about to make a giant mistake, though. This is not Nintendo related, but it may affect my Nintendo gameplay, especially around the time Astral Chain comes out. I'm gonna play WoW Classic.
Didn't they just like redo it all with HD and stuff?
Yeah, and they're going back to vanilla. So,
Okay, sounds fun.
yeah, it is fun, but at the same time, me plus MMOs is a nightmare. So I will just get
That's
sucked
true.
in. I'll get
I've
sucked
seen some of the
in, and I'll
things
be
you've
gone.
said to people.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you have a lawyer. He might come in handy.
No, he won't come in handy. It will just be, I won't be, I don't know. I'm going to have to prioritize because I didn't used to prioritize very well when I played.
Okay, so I'll pick up then, and I would just want to say that I beat Turok 2. I had
Already?
a really great fun in a day. Oh, it's not that long.
Yeah.
And I had a great fun day and a half with it. All the things I said about it, I still think ring true. The modern, crisp, high resolution, outdated graphics look great. It's a lot of fun to run around. It plays buttery smooth. Game Explained did videos on it stuff. It's 60 frames like locked, which you would expect to be. It's an N64 game, right? But it's just a very good shooter on the go on the system.
Okay.
One of the things that I did see about the game, watching some other people, a lot of people are really upset it does not include multiplayer. I never played Turok multiplayer, and I didn't buy it with that in mind. But yeah, a lot of people want online multiplayer, which makes sense. And I know that Night Dive said that they're working on, they're doing, they haven't promised it yet, but they said, hey, they're apparently, there was like a Reddit post. They said they had to like rebuild all of the netcode.
Wow.
Because the netcode that they were
doesn't
doing was like
surprise
bad.
me.
They were like, what we were doing, like they were working on it, and apparently when they trialed, it just was bad.
Oh, I see.
They got to redo it, so it might come down the road. Which is a little unfortunate, because you got to think, right now, if you look up reviews, they'll tell you that the story is great, and there's no multiplayer. And you got to think, let's say the multiplayer is 6 months from now. Who knows? Might be a week from now. We don't know.
Right.
But 6 months from now, there probably won't be that many people playing. And anybody that's interested in playing is going to look up a whole bunch of reviews, says it doesn't have multiplayer.
Yep.
And that kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
So they'll have to, hopefully when it gets updated, we'll know about it and we'll tell you on Shack. And maybe
Right.
I'll play. I don't know. I've never wanted to play it that way, but I totally turned the cheats on. Beware, Oblivion is at hand.
Of course.
And I had all of the weapons, and I just blew all of the dinosaurs to pieces.
Yeah, that's
And I
how
showed
you play
Jack,
games.
and we played. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Cheater.
That's how you play Turok. That's how I played it back in the day. It was just a great little
I
nostalgia
played
trip.
Simcopter that way. I put in the cheat codes for Simcopter, and I just unlocked the army planes immediately and gunned down everybody.
I think that's a good thing to do when you're, like when you're redoing something. You're going back to have fun with it,
Yeah.
Like, just go nuts. Turn on the stuff. Okay, so now let's talk about my Manic Monday. I got a little crazy this Monday.
Whoa.
So for the last week and a half, and we haven't really talked about it, because to be quite honest with you, I don't think there was a whole lot to say, and if you were interested, you probably already knew about it. But the Switch revisions, right? The Nintendo Switch version 2 that we did talk about when it was basically unveiled, they've started rolling out. They're at places. They're at GameStops. They're at Targets. They're around.
Right.
So all these YouTubers online are talking, they're doing battery tests and comparisons. And that Kevin Kinson guy, if you didn't watch the video that I shared, that dude went to the nth degree. He brought in like a screen specialist.
Oh, yeah. I saw
that
it.
tested pixels and things with like a little,
Yeah.
he went crazy
Insane.
with it. To showcase the differences between these two models. And basically the long story of it is the screen is a little warmer, got a little bit more of a warmer glow to it, and the battery is better, like twice better, like very, very, very much better. So that's about it. That's really it. It's got a new chip inside of it, but I mean, it doesn't really affect your gameplay outside of those two things. So folks in our Discord right? Chris, G.I. Jello, several other folks started posting like, hey, here's what the trade-in is at GameStop. Hey, here's how you can do this. Here's how you can get one. Here's the prices here.
Right.
Amazon had that deal where you could get one for like $260, right? You get like $40 off brand new. And they started to circulate, like murmuring, like, hey, you can trade this in at GameStop and they'll even let you do a system transfer in store. I was like, wow. I remember wanting to do that with 3DSs years ago, and they were like, no, you can't. Yeah. So
Micah didn't
I was like,
let
that's
you do
cool.
That?
Micah would,
okay,
but others wouldn't.
Kirby, Rob.
I meant like not that store, at other stores.
I see.
I got you. So that was very enticing. Now, here's the thing that I did know. When you trade in a Switch at GameStop, like you can't just trade them the tablet. You have to bring the dock, the cords, the cons, and the grip, and the straps, like everything. You've got to bring them a full Switch to trade in for another Switch.
Right.
I didn't want to do that because, as you know, we have the third-party docks. We sold Jack's, right, because we're preparing for the light. So I just have mine. Mine's the Pokemon Let's Go model.
Right.
I don't want to get rid of that. So G.I.'s and thing, he's like, you should call them, like they might. And I was like, you know what? There's no harm in just being told no. So I get on the phone. I haven't been to my local GameStop in 6-7 months. I get on the phone and I'm introduced on the phone to this new associate that I had never met before by the name of Emily. Now, let me tell you something. Emily was fantastic. It made me really miss Micah in my old GameStop because that's the feel that I got working with Emily. This is, if GameStop had more Emilys, they wouldn't be in the shape they're in.
Right.
Because I called Emily and I was like, hey, Emily, so I'm seeing all this stuff on Twitter about people trading up and doing system transfer. I just want to know, like, would you let me do that if I want to trade up? She was like, absolutely. I was like, that's it? And they're like, yeah. I was like, all right, let me take it a step further. I'm like, let me make your job a little more hard. I was like, I got the Pokemon Let's Go model, and like my Joy-Cons and dock are worth more than the Switch by itself. So what if I let you keep everything in the box except the tablet, and I'll just swap you tablets? Can I do that too? And she's like, so you want to trade in the brand new stuff as your trade-in so you can keep your original Joy-Cons? I was like, that's exactly what I would do. I want to leave with my Joy-Con and dock. She was like, yeah, we'd do that too. It's not a problem. I'm like, really? That's it? She's like, there's nobody here. And there wasn't. So I come home, I pack up my stuff, I grab some old games that are laying around. Just because, the upgrade fee is roughly, if you're thinking about this, $225 trade in on the Switch.
Right.
So you trade in $225, that's $75 to upgrade to the new model. So I was like, that's roughly $75. I'm going to grab some old games. Maybe I won't have to make it, pay that much. So I go in there and there's nobody there. Like, there's just her and we're hanging out. And it's like in a shopping center. So it's like it's a slower GameStop to begin with.
Right.
And, just great. She told me about her game collection and all these systems that she had. And we chatted up for like an hour because it took a while to do the system transfer. I did the profile transfers for both me and Jack.
Oh,
and, it was fantastic. Right. And, so I did that and I set it all up. And they'll give you $5 more for every game that you trade. I
saw that. And then it's the $25 more for the systems right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's the thing that got me because when she rung up my trade-in values, I noticed that they seemed really high.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I traded in Victoria's copy of Style Savvy on 3DS.
Why wouldn't you sell that to me?
I didn't. You never. Do I need to just like run all of these things by you?
Yes, please do.
In the future?
I'll buy them for you.
So they gave me $22 for that game.
Exactly.
And I was like, what? Why
Style
is this
Savvy
so much
Fashion
value?
Forward. Is that not the one? Fashion Forward or the other one?
I don't know. It's been sitting in the bottom of a drawer because she lost her DS a year ago.
All right. Was it in the case?
No.
No case?
Nope.
Okay.
Just loose copy of the game.
Then I would not buy it.
So I traded in games like that. And they gave me like $150 for stuff. So we ended up walking out with the new Switch and a new set of Joy-Cons, which was a lot of fun. And it had all of this transfers and everything. And
tell us which color you got. Which color did you get?
I got the neon yellow.
They're super bright. Like
they
literally like
bright.
a highlighter, right?
Yeah, they look like a highlighter. They almost glow in the dark.
They do. Bright. I love it.
Jack likes them too.
Yeah.
They're not my favorite, but I just didn't want gray and, But yeah, it took like an hour and a half, so it was a little effort involved, getting everything transferred. But she made it a wonderful time, and like I got to hook up the chargers and everything, and she hooked us up. She put me on the Wi-Fi, and she just made it very easy.
Nice.
So, and I walked out with my original Let's Go Dock and Joy-Cons, and I even bought a replacement backplate that I have coming from off of eBay. So I'll even have my backplate, which, by the way, I was going to say, if you hadn't noticed, because I definitely noticed it when I traded in, the Satisfy grip that we have, tearing that backplate to pieces, by the way.
Really?
Scuffing it right on the middle where the Switch logo is and rubbing the paint off.
I don't put mine in there enough.
Okay, well, if you're out there and you have that Satisfy grip, if you care at all about the condition of that backplate, you might want to put a skin or something on it because it was tearing up my EVE Let's Go one. So now that I have the new Switch model with the regular backplate, I think I'm going to leave that and just keep my Let's Go one like in the plastic until I retire the system. Then I'll swap it back out.
Now that was the custom one though, right? It wasn't the...
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The Pikachu and Eevee stuff's on it. So I got the new Switch with the new battery life, and I beat Fire Emblem and I beat Turok, and that was great. Now we have the upgraded battery life, and since I beat Fire Emblem Sunday, I've basically taken a break from the Switch because I've been hogging the last couple of weeks of Fire Emblem, and Jack hasn't been able to play as much, so I want to start playing some Xbox games, let him get some Switch in for a little bit. And that's really all I've been...
You had more drama.
You know what?
You had more drama.
You're right. I completely forgot to mention this. My Joy-Con broke. I can now join...
After, right? After you traded all that in? Or was it before?
No, it was before.
Okay.
It was I have a white pair of Joy-Con. They're customs with the D-pad. And my right white Joy-Con wasn't like broken. It still worked. But when you were moving, especially if you moved it in circles, I could feel like a stump or like a ridge or a crack. Like it would like kind of jolt at the same place over and over.
How you're just like gyrating your head.
Because it's hard to explain how it feels, but you know how it feels. Like, So obviously I can't send this Joy-Con in because Nintendo doesn't make white Joy-Cons, and they're not going to replace my custom Joy-Con for free. So I was like, I'm going to have to buy a new Joy-Con. And, like white ones, $30-$40. And so I look on Amazon, and I bought a stick replacement kit that came with the screwdrivers and screws and everything for $12. Super cheap. It came with 2 sticks. And I looked online, and I contacted dear friend Jason Lacey, and I was like, I can do this. It's not that hard. And I sat down on Monday, and I performed open heart surgery on my Switch. I took it to pieces. Now, let me tell you, the first one that I did, I broke it. I think I didn't break the stick, but the stick has like a little ribbon cable that goes into a slot, and it has a clamp that clamps down. I kept thinking that I needed to push the ribbon cable like all the way through it, and it only goes in like just the fraction of a millimeter.
Right.
It feels like it's not, like you're like, that's not in, right? You feel like it's going to come out, but it was. So I'm pretty sure I broke it trying to shove it in there over and over again. And so after I put it all back together, the Joy-Con, the stick drifted, and I was like, all right, I broke it. So then the second time's the charm. This time I put it in as far as it like went, and I clapped it down, and I put it back together, flipped it over, worked perfect. I was like, to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't say it's really not that big of a deal, to be quite honest with you. I think most people could do it.
I feel like I can do anything. If you were
watching a video,
I feel like I could do anything after I baked my Virtual Boy ribbon cables.
There you go. You just have to be calm and patient with it, right? Don't be forceful. Don't be forceful. Don't pull or tug on anything because it can break very easily. Even my antenna fell out, by the way, when I opened it. Fell on the floor.
That's what you said. It's just like, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's broke too. And I did that. And but all in all, I wouldn't hesitate to do it again at all. Okay. Actually, now having done it, now I feel like I would never send them into Nintendo. I would just do it myself.
You can just do it anytime.
Well, I mean, it just wasn't that hard. Now that I've successfully done it, I wouldn't send my Joy-Cons into Nintendo because what are they going to do? They take 2 weeks to get them back? You can do it in 10 minutes and $5. It's really not that big of a deal. But, it is a big deal in the sense that you shouldn't have to. I've never had to replace sticks on any controller, so it sucks that I have to do now. But long story short, it's not that big of a deal. It didn't cost that much. So
do you think it was fun? Do you think it was a little borked from the start since you got a custom one that had already been tampered with?
No, because if you remember, a while back, I actually sent it in for repair to the guy that customized it because Jack
That's
dropped
right.
it and it didn't click. Like, it wouldn't click in. It would work, but it wouldn't click.
That's right.
So I sent it back to him and he replaced the stick and sent it back and it was perfect.
Huh.
And then it started doing this thing. So yeah, but we put the new stick on it and it's great. Plays great. And yeah,
Gotcha.
we're off and running. Back to good. So, saving the Fire Emblem talk to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to some news. And boy, do we have it. Caroline, Super Nintendo games might be on the way.
Finally.
Super NES style wireless controller for Nintendo Switch has been spotted in an FCC filing where you can only see the back of what it clearly is a Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
Like, you can't miss it. The FCC listing has Nintendo Switch model numbers and all this stuff. So it looks like Nintendo is about to release, I want to call it a wireless Super Nintendo controller. I don't think it's a Joy-Con.
For people that don't remember, these NES controllers that they came out with last year, you could only buy them through Nintendo. You had to have an online subscription. Came with a pair of them, and they slid on your Switch, and they extended a little bit past the tablet, like
They looked
Joy-Cons.
Yeah, they look terrible.
Mine are still in the package, but I mean, they're wireless, but you can slide them on like Joy-Cons and just leave it like that. I don't think these things will slide on at all. I think they're too large.
think they're Joy-Cons. I don't think it's a Joy-Con. I think it's a wireless controller.
Well, I think so too, but I think just in terms of storage, I think that they won't slide on. They won't.
I got you. So, we have a few questions. We have one from Rebecca, but here's what I'm going to ask you. Obviously, this is going to bring up all the things that we've been looking on. Jared said on the show, with the Nintendo Switch Online stuff coming up for a renewal,
Yeah.
everybody's on the lookout for Super Nintendo stuff,
Ba-bum.
right? Everybody's looking for it. So the question really is, how much do you think this controller will cost?
I think the pair will sell for $60.
You think they're going to sell them in pairs?
Yeah. Just like
Okay.
they did the other one.
$60.
60, maybe top 70. 60.
I'm not paying $60 for Super Nintendo
You didn't
controller.
pay 60 for the other ones. I think, no, those were 50. Were they $59.99 or $49.99?
I don't remember, but I'm not paying that much. Especially because what I was going to say is you've got 8-Bit 2. They've got Super Nintendo controllers, and they've got the Super Nintendo Pro controller that everybody's really excited about right now. Like, these are both
Pro is nice.
These are both options that you can get for $50 and under.
Yeah.
So Nintendo doesn't release one and just charge more, and it's like the same thing. I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's they're well within their right to do that. I'm not going to buy
It's
one.
official.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy one. Rebecca asks, okay, guys, real talk. Do you think they'll charge an extra fee per year for Super Nintendo games, or do you think it'll come with the current online subscription price?
I think with how little NES titles we have right now, they would be stupid if they charged anybody more. How much do we charge for Family Plan? Is it like 20?
It's like 40, 35,
Okay,
40 bucks
for
a year.
8 people.
Yeah, it's plenty. It's like $4 a person.
I don't
It's
think
$20 a year for most people. I mean, that's the thing. It's
I think if they
$19.99 for
do,
most
they
folks.
up it $5 more. But if you do anything more than that, you're going to lose some people.
It's interesting because several of the industry folks pointed out that the Nike, whatever the thing is called, the publication, they said that Nintendo, a while back, they said that Nintendo was going to add to their Nintendo Switch online program in a tiered model, like an a la carte thing.
Didn't you say that like way before?
I did, way before, a long time ago.
Like when
I
we
said
were
that
still
they would
talking
drop
about
them in,
Virtual Console.
Yep. I said that they would drop them in pricing tiers.
Yeah.
So the next question is is it going to be a mix and match? Can you pick and choose? Or is it going to be
I think
the NES online is the base, and for $30 you get Super, and for $40 you get N64, and for $50 you get GameCube? Does it go that way? Do they build up to a package that rivals, at least in price, is competitive with Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus?
Sure. I think so.
So the hard thing,
I think they have to.
the hard conversation to have with this right now is a lot of people don't feel like Nintendo Switch Online
Is
has
worth
been
it.
worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I actually think, one, you're paying for online, which I think that's the biggest part of it because people think it used to be free.
Right.
But it's not free for the other people. In like today's market, it's not free. You have to pay for that.
Sure.
So you get online. $20 for online is a sweet deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally by itself. If they were like, if you want to play online, you got to give us $20 a year to play Mario Kart online. That is a good deal.
Sure.
Compared to everyone else. No, it's not as good as it used to be. It used to be free, but it could be $60. Like you could pay more. So that's a good deal. On top of that, they gave me, I'm just going to use me specifically. They gave me Super Mario 3 Tecmo Super Bowl. That's like, I'm good. Like that at $20 a year. It's fantastic.
You have to think about like how much you would have to pay for these titles individually on the eShop if like Virtual Console was still around.
Yep, $6.99.
Since you can't do that anymore, you have to buy the cartridge and play it the old school way. They also gave us
Tetris Battle Royale.
Yeah, for free.
That would have been $20. And actually, now as I say that, you remind me, I put 10 hours into Mario Tennis this week. Did you play Mario Tennis this weekend?
I haven't even downloaded it.
You've missed the trial.
I missed it, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think it already ended.
I should say this. I did play. I played a bit with the kids.
And?
Here's what I have to say about it. The adventure mode, the little that I played it, maybe an hour and a half, just felt like a glorified tutorial. Maybe you got to keep playing it, but it just slowly rolls out like how to play the game and extra stuff. I wasn't enamored with it, and I was like, I'm good. It has a huge roster, which we already knew, but like...
So was everybody already unlocked from the start? I
think so. When I logged in, there was like 40 people to shoot. I was like, man, this feels like old school Street Fighter or something. That's not 40, awesome. But it's like 25, 30 folks there.
Yeah.
We played the majority of our time. I played a little online. I played a lot of like exhibition with the controller. And then we played probably half of our time in swing mode doing the Wii Sports thing.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I wish I could play the rest of the game that way. If I could play the rest of the game in swing mode.
So you can't. You have to press buttons.
You have to go into swing mode.
Yeah.
There's a separate mode to play in swing mode, and there's some mini games you can do, like coin chase, or where you throw it through the ring toss or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's an exhibition. There's a battle thing. There's a couple modes, but like I can't play adventure mode with the swing enabled. I can't play online with the swing enabled.
That sucks.
Which I understand why, because you'd be at a disadvantage, but if I didn't care to be at a disadvantage, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
What if you're really, really good?
That's true, but like I'm here to play the swing. Like I want to swing the arm. Yeah. That's why I'm here. I don't care about all, because I got to tell you, like, and I know we all said this during the demo, and this extended play didn't change my mind at all. It's very like complicated. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of like hold this trigger while you hit this and move, and it's just like it's like I just want to hit the ball,
Yeah.
So I really liked swing mode. I was surprised with how good the Joy-Cons are actually at that. You can swing up, right? Put top spin on the ball. You can swing early and force it the other way. You've got different, like all of the different, like the slice and the top spin. Everything is just motioned in a different arm motion.
Yeah.
Forehand and backhand. And I never had like an issue where I was like, I didn't mean to do that. Like all the time it was pretty good. I was like, this is fairly good. So we played a few hours of that. I think all in all, I put 10 hours into that game. The 10 hours I put into the game, make me not want to buy the game. Because I feel like I've played what I would want to get out of it. And then 2, I wouldn't want to pay more than say $20 for it, because I probably would only play the Wii Sports portion of the game.
Okay.
I'm just not very competitive. I don't want to get good at tennis games. So
yeah,
it'd be different as a golf game. I'm just not that into tennis.
I know.
So I was very happy with the trial. So getting back on point here, you got that trial too. So in a year, there was we're glossing over, what they put like 40 or 50 games in there. Like I just have tiles of stuff now. There's a bunch of stuff in there now.
Sure. How many? It's been about 3 per month over the course of a year. So that's at least like 36, almost 40 games.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff in there. So like I said, I think Mario 3 and online is worth $20. Yeah. I do. So I'm fine with that. But, as Rebecca said, I think, we're going to get tiers. I think they're going to do like this cable package thing.
Sure.
Which would be interesting to see, like, will it always expand and go up, or can you pick and choose? Can you get like the base in NES and like say you want 64 this month, or you can get SNES this month, but it's the same price? Can you pick and choose, or is it like an a la carte thing? We don't know.
No say.
Yeah. I do hope that they keep it separate. That was another thing when I said this a long time ago. I like that their stuff isn't mixed in with the eShop. This is the one advantage that I like, not having the old Virtual Console. So I hope they release a brand new SNES app, and it's a separate thing, and it's set somewhere else, and it's a separate logo and all that. Yeah, like I like the division in the organization.
Yes.
That's good stuff. Absolutely. All right, moving on. Caroline, Bubble Bobble for Friends was announced today as a Switch exclusive. Comes out this November for our UK friends. I popped over to the Switch Island Discord and I was like, you lucky bastards. Now this is the old school Bubble Bobble. This is not like the best move Bubble Bobble. Right? This is the old school Bubble Bobble, which
NES arcade version.
I immediately tagged Kevin when this popped in. And I imagine it'll be $20, but it won't come here for us until 2020, which I hope is like January. I hope we don't have to wait long, but it seems like we get a little extra localization.
They officially said 2020, though, right?
Yeah, 2020 for North America. Pretty excited. It's cool. Cool little minigame. I'm definitely buying.
I thought it was so funny that of all things Kevin gets excited about is
what have I told you forever? Dude is a Nintendo hipster, man.
They'd
be like, we have a new Chibi Robo game. He'd be like, why isn't everybody else excited?
Bubble Bobble was Taito, right?
Yeah. And it's the same people. They're making it again.
Great. I assume so. I'm sure they still own the rights to it. I was telling him, I said, did you know that there was a manga? There was a Bubble Bobble, like, where the characters were in a manga.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Kind of eclectic.
They're awesome little characters.
Kind of stuff. They are. They're pretty cute.
I never played the old one. Ever.
Are you serious? You've never played it?
That's what I said. I've always known Bubble Bobble would be Bust-A-Move. That's like when I see those characters.
I have played the arcade version. Yeah.
Yep.
You should try the NES version. They should add that to the eShop or the online.
I want to say I thought they did, but I don't know.
Before.
I thought they did, but I'm not sure.
No, probably because it's a Taito game and they don't have the rights to it. But maybe now they can partner with them.
But yeah, it looks good. It's a modern take on retro graphics, and like I said, I imagine it'll be
it looked
a
clean.
budget price. And yeah, I'm buying it. I'm definitely in. I wish it was sooner. Game Freak has filed a trademark for Little Town Hero. This is possibly going to be the title of Town, the game we were introduced to last year. I think we'll hear about that in 2020.
I love Game Freak. I mean, I'm glad that they're branching out into something different. I can only imagine that it would be good stuff.
Do you think we'll have another Pokemon game next year? Or is Town the Pokemon game?
I think we have that off year where we will just have like a let's go kind of thing.
Yeah, so look forward to that. Caroline, I sent you this because I knew you'd like it. I saw the screenshots and I read over the details, but I haven't had the opportunity to dive into it. So take
Nobody jumped in my stream. To
I would have.
I
couldn't.
So Donnie's like.
I messaged you everywhere else I could. I was.
And then, like, all of a sudden, I see there's a message on my Discord where I'm tagged, and I was like, what the heck?
By the way,
Shantae 5!
Shout out to Soundscape over on Twitter who followed up to this and tagged me. If you hadn't tagged me in it, I wouldn't have seen it because I was barely on Twitter today. I was on Twitter for 30 minutes. So
thank you, Soundscape. I appreciate it. I would have seen it since I got off. But anyway, Shantae 5 now has a title. It's called Shantae and the Seven Sirens. It is still supposedly coming in 2019. They haven't said otherwise.
That's exciting.
So yay! All right, I'm going to read from the press release. It says, formerly referred to as Shantae 5, Shantae and the Seven Sirens sends the belly-dancing, hair-whipping half-genie hero to a tropical island where Shantae and her friends encounter the other half-genie allies, but they soon learn that there's trouble in paradise. As Shantae gets caught up in the island's sinister secrets, she'll use all new dance abilities and instant transformation fusion magic to explore the non-linear, interconnected world where she'll visit multiple towns, overcome treacherous labyrinths, and dastardly bosses. What?
No, I'm just like, the description is too long. People glaze over this late. It's too long. You gotta condense all of this.
I'm trying to say it. I'm trying to say it in a way that... The game also features a new collectible card system that grants players the freedom to augment Shantae's powers to suit their own style of play. Do you know how excited this makes me? I love card mechanics in games.
Really? You didn't play Colors?
Yes. I own it. I started playing it, but I don't own it yet. Well, okay, all right, so whatever. Anything's better than Sticker Star.
What are your examples of really fun card-based mechanics in games?
All right, so... Ooh, this is a good one. Kevin will love me for this. So, Kevin made me play a game for Arcadia Academia called Spike McFang, The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang. And they had a pretty good card system where it was like you got certain abilities through there, or you got health up or something, and you like got to use these cards in battle. It's pretty cool. This seems to me like the more you collect, the different things become open to you. So you might pay 20, kind of more like a gacha system. You pay $20 for a certain card, and there's like a 1% chance that it's a really, really good power up. And the whole option is just Gotta catch
Do you
up.
have microtransactions where you can buy as many cards as you want with real money?
Yeah, but Way Forward is really good
Yeah,
about...
I don't expect them to do that. I'm just making a joke.
No. Way Forward is really good with making it easy
they're
to
not gonna
get
do
all of the power-ups in the games. I got all the power-ups in Pirate's Curse probably within the first 5 hours of gameplay, to be quite honest. So from Nintendo Wire, they made a post. The key features include exploring the interconnected world using fusion magic, and that's capitalized, by the way, so that's apparently what her magic is called. Yeah. Creature transformations, including a newt and other aquatic forms. Yeah. Super cute. Using dance abilities to activate machinery, destroy terrain, and more. 4K resolution, hand-painted visuals on 4K devices
Not
only.
Switch.
All new characters and returning favorites like Roddy, Sky, Bolo, and Risky. Collecting and powering up monster cards. So the collecting thing, I don't know, it's going to be awesome. Enjoying minigames, acquiring magic and items, and uncovering secrets, and gorgeously animated TV-style cutscenes.
Okay, so the card thing really threw me out of any of the last SteamWorld game. Remember they had that with the card?
I haven't played it.
Just seeing it, and I don't know. I don't really like the card stuff. Or at least, let me put it this way.
See, I love it.
This way. I don't think I've played a game where I collected cards that I could play as a gameplay mechanic that I liked. So maybe they do it better. I'll buy it regardless. Shantae game, I'll buy it. But yeah, I'm not as like super over the moon positive on that development as you are.
I just love it. Anything collectible inside of a game, especially when they say
you have a spirit
collectible
board
cards.
that's full. We get it.
I'm so excited. Anyway, I also wanted to mention I looked at all this stuff, and it's pretty much the same graphic style as Half Genie Hero, and I think that they are using a lot of the same assets and probably the same engine that they use for Half Genie Hero.
The thing that I'll be looking out for, I hope, will be one preview and review coverage, but the thing I'll be hoping to hear is that maybe the cards aren't like integral to completing the game. Maybe it's like a side thing that you can do. But if you just want to play the game and get some power-ups and platform your way to the end, maybe you can.
Yeah. I think they are supposed to sort of replace, how she would have hair gel for, upping the hair whip power-up, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. On the same path there. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that does it for our news block. We didn't get any questions this week except for one. Jack asked me this after he was filling out his poster for student council. Jack, my son, would like to know who are our favorite Pokemon. And what he means by our, because he knows mine, he basically means yours. Caroline, what are your favorite Pokemon?
You know what? I have a by type favorite, and I'm
Do you have another list? Are you about to go to another list?
I have a thing that I filled out. It's my favorite Pokemon by type, and I swear
you're like
to
How
God,
I Met Your Mother's Ted and pros and cons list. Like you just whip out a tablet. You're like,
to God,
I have a list for this. All right, so I will, while you look. The thing with Pokemon that I explained to Jack when he asked me this question was I really have like a core team of Pokemon that I like. There's like maybe 30 Pokemon that I really like, and I always want to play with those 30, and I really don't care about the rest. Especially new Pokemon, which makes me feel like old man, because there hasn't been a new Pokemon that I've really enjoyed in quite some time.
That's surprising to me.
The one that kind of break the mold, I really like Lycanroc. Like, it's one of my favorite Pokemon. I was like, Lycanroc is freaking awesome. So
Dusk form
I'm a Lycanroc fan. But obviously my love for Cubone and Marowak runs deep. My favorite fire type is Arcanine. My favorite water type is Golduck and Psyduck. I also like Poliwrath. I'm a Gengar fan. And I like Butterfree. That's my grass Pokemon. And and Pikachu and Raichu, obviously, yeah, Pikachu and Raichu, and that's typically my team. I have a Cubone and Marowak, I have an Arcanine, I have a Poliwrath, a Golduck or a Psyduck, and a Raichu, and that type of stuff. Zapdos, my favorite legendary. I like Machamp. I like a lot of the fighting Pokemon. I mean, that's really my thing. I like Machamp. I like Hawlucha, and I like Hitmonchan. I'm a big fan of Hitmonchan, and I like the Ghost Pokemon for a lot. But that's it. Like, I hate most of the legendaries. I don't like a lot of like the all of the Smash characters. I basically don't like. Like, I'm not really into a lot of the popular ones. Grey Ninja, for example. I don't like Grey Ninja at all.
I found it. All right. This is by type, and there are 18 types.
Oh, we're not
so
going to do
really
18.
quick. No, I am. It's really quick. Grass, Leafeon, Fire, Entei, Water, Lapras, Normal, Stuff.
Oh, Snorlax.
Electric.
Snorlax is a big favorite of mine.
Electric, Alolan Raichu, Psychic, Mew, Fighting, Mega Lucario. Mm-hmm. Do not!
Mewtwo is way better than Mew.
Rock, Terrakion, one of the three beasts from Gen 5. Ground, Swinub, Flying, Altaria, Bug, Leanne. I think I said that right.
How are you not going to say Onyx?
It looks
It's
like
one rock type, and his
like,
name's Onyx, and that's it.
Poison, Roserade, or Roserade, however
See,
you
I'm
say
going
it.
by types in terms of like the card game. So there's like 6, but I know I don't get into all this mess.
Dark type, Liepard. Ghost type, Alolan Marowak. Ice type,
That's
Aurorus.
Alolan. They don't even
Steel
have
type.
types. They're all types.
Steel, Solgaleo. Dragon, Latios. And Fairy, Tapu Fini.
Now you said Fairy, even though to me he's a psychic Pokemon. I like Mr. Mime too. Count me in for being a fan of Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime in the card game is a sweet card. He's got all kinds of freaking awesome cards. Like, he can move damage counters and all kinds of stuff. He's amazing.
He married Ash's mom.
Did he?
It's the running joke.
Oh, I don't know.
You apparently don't. Okay. Anyway.
Like I said, I've got my team, and that's it. Which makes me upset. I'm going to say this again.
Rebecca will enjoy
Makes me upset. Why is Cubone not included in Sword and Shield so far? It's called Sword and Shield. Cubone carries a sword and has a helmet.
It's Leavanny, not Leanne. Leavanny.
I'm telling you. British soldier.
Sorry.
Like the English British patrolman as a Cubone. And a little hat and sword and shield. Give him a shield.
There's a name for them. There's a name for the people that stand guard outside Buckingham Palace.
Whatever. But a Cubone version of that. Why isn't that a thing? That should be a thing. I can't be the only person that thinks that's a great idea. That makes so much sense. And for whatever reason, we haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping that they're saving it because that makes a lot of sense in the world. And I said that and Jack was like, they already have a Alolan. It's like, then they messed up because they should have saved it for this because this makes all the sense in the world.
If they have multiple Eevee types, they can do it.
What if he took his bone and he put it in like a sheath holster? See? How awesome is this?
They're just called the Queen's Guard, by the way.
There you go. So they don't have a name.
Or the King's Guard if the reigning monarch is a male.
Okay. So those who our favorite Pokemon are Caroline. We've reached the point in our show. Spoiler warning. Where we're going to talk about Fire Emblem Three Houses. If you don't want to be spoiled and you don't want to hear anything, then turn it off now. And we appreciate you for listening. Tune into next week. Always come back. Come back to this episode. Roughly, 45-ish minutes is where we are. Come back and check out some Fire Emblem Three Houses. All right, so let's give it a pause. You've had a chance to leave. This is your chance now. Like, don't tweet at us about how we upset you because you kept listening. If you don't want to be spoiled, I'm talking to Kyle and Dev. They hate the spoilers, you know. I'm talking. All right. Let's get into it. Caroline, I beat the game on Sunday.
You played it wrong.
I clocked in around. I didn't play it wrong. There is no playing it wrong. How dare you?
You messed
little,
up,
little girl.
You messed up.
You messed up.
You
no, you
know
messed
it.
up.
No,
you empowered a
messed up.
monster. You put a monster on the throne.
I didn't. I absolutely did
all right,
not.
so
She
let's
had
explain.
pure perfect intentions.
I finished it Sunday. I came in around the mid 40 mark. I don't think my Switch is updated, but I'm a little over 40 hours. I think is what I came through through the thing.
You really did skip a lot of stuff.
I really didn't, to be honest with you.
I don't know what I came out. I think mine was at least over 50.
It dawned on me last week when we were talking about how I had a decision to make, and you were like, yeah, I've got the decision. And what did you like? We kept bouncing back and forth. It dawned on me while we were talking about that I felt like we were talking about different decisions because I was like, I don't know if she's on the same wavelength that I am. So I kept playing. I waited till the next day and I kept playing. And about an hour after I made my decision, I was like, I really don't think we're on the same path. Because apparently I chose the monastery. I chose the path of the church. I went the Church of Saros.
We gotta back
path.
up. We have to back up. All right. So this all happens at the end of month 2. It's the end of the month battle. It's where you're going into the divine tomb to receive a revelation from the goddess. And all of a sudden, Edelgard shows up and she announces that she is the Flame Emperor, and all hell breaks loose. Now, you have 2 options after you have the battle against her. If you went on the exploration on the first exploration day available to you at the beginning of month 2, and you ran into Edelgard, she says, "Teacher, I need you to come with me for something important. Will you come with me?" It gives you the heartbeat. Boom, boom. This will drastically change the course of the game. Do you want to continue? Yes or no? If you choose yes, you go with her and you find out that her ailing father, the current emperor, is about to die, and he is passing over the empire to her, and you witness the changing of hands. You then skip, like, the next week of teaching, like, because you went out to the empire, you went out to Enbar, you had to skip that week. If you did not go with her, or you did not access that, which is what you did not do, you don't get that option when you beat her at the end of that battle or whatever. You get 2 options. Kill Edelgard, or if you went with her, you had the option to protect Edelgard. If you did not see her become the new emperor, you only get a ... where you might select that, but you can't do anything and you cannot progress forward on the Edelgard route because you did not see it.
I believe my option was to spare her, not ... Like, I had the choice to kill her, and I chose not to kill her.
All right. So, spare as opposed to protect.
Yep. So let's back up a minute. What we're here trying to explain is that we know the 3 houses. We have the Black Eagles, the Blue Lions, and the Golden Deer. Those are 3 paths in the game. If you choose the Black Eagle route, the Black Eagle route actually branches into 2 paths.
Diverges.
It splits.
Yes.
There is the Black Eagle route, and then there's the Church of Saros route. So it's very funny, because apparently you looked this up before you played.
I did not.
So you just went the Black Eagle right off the bat. And you did all of these decisions just on your own. You just knew them, or...
I was courting Bay. I just randomly
so you
came
just
across
did whatever
her.
she said. Whatever she wanted.
Yeah, Brian can tell you. I was, like, randomly coming out, and she's just like, I have something that I need you to go with me for something. And then, like, the heartbeat came up, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on?
That's another thing, because I may have to look this up, and it might just be bad memory, because I remember her asking me if I wanted to go somewhere with her, but I didn't remember getting a whole heartbeat and all this. Like, she was just like, hey, do you want to come with me? And I was like, no, not right now. I don't want to do this right now. And I just moved on.
Then you screwed up.
So, I actually really like that this happened. Because instead of us both playing the exact same game, we played different games. And I think that's pretty cool. So, catching up to the story without all these decision trees that nobody cares about, I played the game the way I wanted to play it. Now, last week, I told you, or the first week, our first discussion, I told you I kind of liked Edelgard. Early on into the game, I was like, I kind of like her. She's fierce, but like loyal and in a good way. When I made that decision, it was because she started to fall out of favor with Edelgard. Started to see that she was somewhat corrupt or too intent. And I was like, she's going to be the one. I don't know about this, which is why I didn't go with her. I was like, I don't want to do this right now. I was courting my own bae. I had things to do. Okay. I got folks to see. And then by the time we get there, it's obviously she's the traitor. It's obviously that she's power corrupt. Her story, by the way, is literally like Anakin Skywalker's story.
Okay, there are memes that it's just like, Edelgard, I have the high ground.
I mean, basically, yeah. Are there? Because, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. That's her story. Her story is that she's the corrupt one she was the chosen one and she went the wrong way. So it was very easy for me, even though I didn't want to kill her, and the reason I didn't kill her, by the way, when you get to that battle, because that was the choice I was trying to decide. When I was telling you that I had a choice, it was like, because remember at the time, I thought I was still on your path. And I was like, well, if I kill her, then I can't, like, be on her team afterwards. I can't kill her. Because I wanted Hubert back. He was like one of my best characters.
That's all you cared about.
Right. So I was like, I need him back. I don't want to play the rest of the game without him, so I'll spare them. Little did I know what was going to happen after I spared them. So in my branching path of the story, once I spare Edelgard and she goes off and the time skip happens and we have the battle and my teacher falls into the depths and listens forever, Edelgard totally becomes a dictator and conquers the whole damn thing, and she's advancing. She does in any of the paths, she's
period.
Totally a bad person. And the way that it's explaining it, like on our end, like from that perspective that I chose, she is the villain. Like everybody's like, she's, terrorizing towns and mad with power, and she's crazy, and we've got to overthrow her.
I've gotten to that point in Claude's route too, and it does go that way. It explains it the same way.
Oh, okay.
From Claude's perspective. Now,
what does it do from her
my perspective? From her perspective, do you know why she did? You got her C support where she explains that she was basically, her and her siblings were all tortured because they were trying to imbue the crest into them. So that's why she has the Crest of Flames as well. Now, I'm not going to say another thing because Brian's in the chat saying Edelgard did nothing wrong.
He's in spoiler territory, so like we've warned everybody. Right. If you get spoiled, it's your fault.
In that one, she is doing it to abolish the nobility. She wants everybody to be on common ground. She wants the nobles and her uncle are the reason that she was tortured and that she lost all of her siblings. And she's doing all of this underneath her uncle, and she's pretending like she's, doing it for him and, being happy for him. But really, she plans to overthrow her uncle and get rid of him and put everybody on the same page.
Which is why she has like this rebellious defiance against anybody of any stature. Which is why she hates Rhea and everybody. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, and that was actually one of the reasons why I was like, I'm not really digging you as much anymore. Like, I'm kind of over this. It's kind of whiny. It's kind of bratty and kind of tired of it. And I went the other way, which, getting into some of the in-game stuff, I got to tell you, like, I'm not sure if it helps or hurts my opinion on the game that I played it the path I did. I did like that I ended up siding with Claude, which was cool. Like, we made a little alliance, which was a fun little story element on my path to reclaim. But yeah, I mean, it was not my favorite cast of characters. I hung out with Sedith and Flane.
We love Sedith.
Flane
Brian
way too much. See, we don't like the
Brian
same characters. We don't like the same characters at all.
No, Donnie, listen to me. You have got to get into the Sedith and Flane memes because it is freaking hilarious. All right. So like there's the Sedith thing and the voice actor has gotten in on this, right? So you have the quest and you accept the quests and everything. People have made this thing called Sedith Says, #Sedith Says, look it up. And people have made these fake things that it's like, Flane has gotten us stuck in the McDonald's play place. Do you see us waving at you? Please get us out. We haven't eaten our order yet. And people have animated this and the freaking voice actor for Sedith has gotten on board and he's like voicing these fake Sedith Says quests. It's hysterical. So like Sedith is good people. He
because
really is
of a meme on Twitter.
No, he's good people. Like I've gotten through Claude's route and he automatically, Brian, by the way, you didn't hear about this. He automatically joined my party and he is awesome. He's a great unit. And
not my favorite.
I just think he's good people. I hate that in my route, Rhea is evil and I still see Rhea as completely evil, by the way. And he
in my route,
is just kind
Rhea's
of a
more
follower.
Like protectionist.
See, she's kind of like that in Claude's too, but in the Claude route that I've gotten right now, she disappears. She's gone.
Well, they kidnap her. That's another thing in my route. Edelgard totally kidnaps her. And again, holds her in her jail prison for 7 years.
See, that hasn't happened to me. That hasn't happened to me yet. They haven't
kind of evil.
Well, they haven't boasted that the Empire has her. They say they don't have her, and that she's been missing for 5 years. And it's all about Byleth's like I'm gonna find her type stuff. I did see that cutscene today, by the way, like when the Empire is coming in with their army and Rhea turns dragon. Like I didn't get that the first time. That was a really good.
That was probably my favorite cutscene of the.
Good cutscene.
That one and the first one are both up there. Good stuff.
Dude, the Empire ending, like Crimson Flower is the name of Edelgard's
I saw all
route.
the endings.
The ending, that one is so good, where the hair turns back and everything, and she's like holding you and crying. It's really good. There's another thing that I wanted to talk about. That's the thing I wanted to say.
I didn't really like my ending at all, to be honest with you.
Okay, I don't want to know what your ending is about. I'm gonna play
the purpose of a spoiler talk.
Okay, well, listen. I'm gonna do Silver Snow on my own. I'm sure Edelgard gets killed. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I kill her.
Okay. Dimitri, is he alive?
Yeah. Well, we think he
Claw's
does.
alive.
He shows up in like a. He shows up. You think it's him, but he also like kind of disappears. So like you're not sure if you're like having like a flashback. But I thought he was alive. I was in the impression he was alive while I was playing it. Yes.
All right. In mine, Claude dies in her conquest, and then Dimitri she kills, and before he kills her, he says like something like "Damn you to hell, L." And if you remember through what she said in her support conversations, she asked you to call her L, and only her siblings and her closest family members called her L. And Dimitri is a stepbrother.
So what I wanted to say, just to touch on that, because I don't have a whole lot to say, but I did look up a lot of the endings and things, and the best scene that I've seen in this entire game makes me feel like I chose the wrong house. If you haven't chose yet, I would suggest that you play under the blue lion's house.
See, I'm saving that one for last, and I've seen so much good art from it.
Oh my god. Edelgard doesn't have a very good ending over there. And it was by far the cutscene that I've seen with Dimitri over there. This is the best cutscene in the whole game. I was like, wow, if I had known this,
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I would have chosen this way.
I know exactly which one. All right, so and all of, like, I'm a big Byleth and Claude shipper right now. Claude is just so fine. And Dimitri and Byleth, though, like, all of the Dimitri and female Byleth art is so wholesome and so pure and so good. And I'm just,
what about the game? Not the people making art about the game. What about the actual game? Like, let's talk about the game itself.
I've seen pictures, screen caps of what you're talking about.
It's real good. It's like some Dragon Ball Z shit. I was like, damn, I need to play this.
All right, so here's the thing. I've slowed up on my play, obviously. Brian actually started his own. He wanted to. So this is Brian. I have to just put this out there. Brian believes that Edelgard, the sun rises and sets in Edelgard, and that he was originally going to be
sand.
Female Byleth and romance her, right? But he realizes at the end, he goes, she needs a proper man.
Oh, God.
And so he is playing as male Byleth, and he started he started Black Eagles, and he's going to go the Crimson Flower route. But he says, bless that little liberator.
Yeah, no. All right. So, getting away from all of the fan art and memes.
It's so
my
good.
Ending wasn't.
If I knew how it was going to end up, like all this memes and stuff, I don't know. I would have made art in advance, is what I'm saying.
My ending wasn't like super satisfactory. It was not awful, but it was just kind of an end, and I was like, huh.
Who'd you end up getting with then?
What do you mean?
That's right.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going next.
We have to rag on you. You. Guys, listen. Donnie messages me and he says, well, how come you don't give an support with somebody? How do you not give the ring to somebody?
How did you pick? Because I didn't get a chance to pick.
Yeah, because guess what, guys? He skipped the whole last month and just went into the final battle. I skipped like the last 3 weeks because I wanted to finish. Well, that's the point.
Well,
that
here's
you have
the point.
To, like,
the point is that I went and did the 1,000 fetch quest and fished and planted like 18,000 times. And by the time I reached chapter 21, I was tired of it. And I just wanted to get to the battle and move on.
You are not a true RPG person.
I never claimed to be. I think that's pretty well documented here.
You're like, I love Fire Emblem. I love tactics RPGs.
So now I'm being shamed for playing the game? Wow.
We're here to rag on Donnie. You're just not playing it right.
Or I'm playing it the right way.
You're not taking advantage of it.
All right, so you wanted...
No, I'm playing it the perfect 100% way, man. I'm getting every support conversation going at it.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Because here's what I message you. I go, like, hey, why didn't this happen? Because I had S support. And you were like, well, did you go to the grave and talk to the so-and-so? And I was like, no, because I skipped to the battle because I wanted to finish. And you were like, well, that's why. All right. So that makes sense to me. And I get that. I thought about, I kept a save. I had a save. I've got a save to go back. I thought about going back and doing it over again. Now here's the thing. That final battle is not like, I died 3 times on that damn thing. Like that final battle is a
Really?
joke. Like the thing is, it ramps up so much more than what you're prepared to by the time you got there.
You skipped a month of stuff you could have battled and leveled up on.
I guess, but I up until that point, I wasn't having much of an issue. So I didn't feel like I was missing much. I was like, I'll just move on.
It took me 75 minutes to beat the final
That's
battle.
a lot. That final battle's ridiculous. There's monsters and everything everywhere. Like, oh my, really? There's like 18,000 dragons.
Giant map. But yeah, but I mean, like, it made you think.
It's very epic.
It really did.
It's very epic.
Yeah.
I actually think, all right, I don't want to get into the review coverage of the game yet, but here's what I wanted to say. Once I realized that I didn't get the romance option and I didn't do it, I thought about going back and I said, you know what, before I do, let me just look it up on YouTube. And I looked it up on YouTube and I finally saw what it was, and having seen what it was, I'm not going to lie to you. Having seen what you get, I'm actually kind of upset that I even put any time into it to begin with, because I just don't think it's much of a payoff. You get 10 seconds and a little like scene where you get to see some like somebody smile at you with the sun bars behind them, and that's it, and that's over. And to be quite honest with you, I felt like it's lacking. It's lacking quite a bit.
For shame.
I watched all of the...
I live vicariously through these moments, you understand.
I watched all of the romancing options, and they're all the same. They're all like,
oh no,
do you want my ring? Oh, I do, and we can live happily ever after, and here's a picture of me happy. And, you know, they all mix in some little stereotype amounts of them. Like, Bernadetta's like...
Where have you been? This has been what Fire Emblem has been with marriage support since Awakening.
Again, I've never done the marriage stuff. It's not that important to me. And now, having seen what the payoff was for it, it's really not that important. If you want to skip it, Donnie says it's totally okay to skip it, because it's really not that big of a deal.
All right, listen.
Just watch them on YouTube.
As a woman who loves romance and to be romanced, it is phenomenal. Dude, that one with Felix, where Felix is like, got the hand underneath the chin. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to go after Felix for one route. I got to do it. Just for that. So good. Quit staring at me!
It's a little weird. I'm just...
It's not weird! It's so good!
I wanted more from it, right? Like I'm doing all these things. I'm giving her all these items. I'm giving her flowers. I'm doing all these conversations. I invested into her storyline and the opera house and everything. And what do I get at the end? Is the world live happily ever together? And like, here's a pink and orange picture and thanks. It's kind of boring. Like, I wanted to see like a wedding scene and a happily ever after. Like, give me 30 seconds of something. Like, do something.
Did you go through the credits where they give you here's what
I
happened?
read like the first 3 and then I kind of got up and got a drink and stuff. But yeah, I know what happens. That's where they
explain it. Yeah, but that's where they explain it.
You're right, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted to see it. Terrytown. Like, let's do it. Don't give me a paragraph to read. That's why nobody pays attention to Destiny. Like, nobody wants to read books and games. Come on now.
I'm one of those people that just loves reading.
I don't hate it, by the way. I'm being a little antagonistic because I'm getting ragged on here.
I love romance novels.
I expected it a little
fan fiction.
I expected a little bit. Like, it's and what I'm not saying that what you liking it is bad. I'm just saying that for all the effort involved, it doesn't really feel like the payoff is there. It's literally every conversation is literally like a minute tops. And then the actual moment's like 15 seconds. Like the screenshot moment that you get, everybody's like 15 seconds. You know, so here I was thinking, I took a picture. I knew the old ones. I knew that the old ones did. Like, I knew what they did, but I thought with this new one, with all of the monastery and the modeling and all that, I thought that there'd be something, and there's just not. There's not. I wanted there to be a little bit more. This is very like akin to like, if you ever beat Street Fighter 2, at the end they had like a little blurb of what you did after like Chun-Li retired and became that's basically what this is. And no, it's not really worth all that. that little blurb isn't worth all the effort to get there.
It's a great story.
Okay, so now let's get into a little bit of the actual review coverage.
Like when you were talking about that and everything, I'm like, you mean to tell me that the 40 hours you put into it was not worth the story that you got out?
Okay, so I mean, let's talk about that. Figure out how I want to shape this correctly. I think Fire Emblem Three Houses is a good to great game. I can't come to the level where it's my favorite Fire Emblem ever. I don't think it is. I didn't connect with the characters half as much as you have. I know you love Claude and you're into all this fan art and stuff, and I'm not there. The story was good. I did like the story. I wish there was more of it. I wish it was a little bit more like complex and more often, I think is probably the better way. Like you get every chapter and you get this thing. Like I would have liked some in between weekly stuff. But to be quite honest with you, and not that I'm not down on the game. It is a great game. It is exactly kind of what you would expect, you know, a step up from Fire Emblem to be. But considering the amount of time since Echoes and what this was kind of primed to be, what we were being sold and all this stuff, I don't feel like I don't think it did nearly as much, or it could have. Honestly, I'd put it this way. I'm probably almost more eager to see where they go from here. You know, this is almost like a stepping stone. Like they're kind of there.
Sure.
But I feel like Three Houses lacks a lot of polish. And I think Three Houses could have a lot of things that take it up a notch to put it on that truly like next step level that I don't think it does. I think the Monastery, while I did enjoy it, and I do think it's a really fun new take on gameplay for Fire Emblem, I just feel like it's kind of old. Like the Monastery should have people walking around more often. Like people shouldn't just be constantly stagnant and centered. Like there should be action and things should be happening. People should be on timers. You know, like this is very, like it feels like a, you know, because the Monastery is an open world kind of thing. It's an open area, but it's like an open area from like 2008. Like open areas in 2019 have stuff going on. Have you seen Cyberpunk? Like that's open area. Like this is not, you know, and it doesn't have to be. I'm not saying that, but considering kind of what it's been built to, I think something like that could have taken it to another level that would have been like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was never, the entire game, I wasn't like, this was amazing, except for maybe that final battle, which was both like, oh, this is hard and it's also amazing. And that was another thing that I wanted to say. The battles, especially the weekly battles, could have used some substance. I did a lot of paralogs. I didn't do them all. I did a lot of paralogs. I like those. I think more of that could have been incorporated into the main story.
Right.
Instead of it being so optional. But also, all of the side battles, including the paralogs, could have used a little bit more diversity. That was one thing that I was definitely thinking.
It is kind of repetitive.
It is.
I feel like it was, for me as somebody that likes to grind for levels, I saw it as a grind.
Yeah,
and it's
I did too. And even in the grind, though, the entire time I was playing, especially towards the end of the game, which, like I said, I skipped that final month, like, just get me to the end. I'm ready to be done with this now. Because I kept feeling like I'm just going to spawn on one of these, let's say, I don't want to be mean, one of these 6 rotating maps that I keep playing on. I'm going to be in hell, or I'm going to be in the woods, or I'm going to be on this beach, or I'm going to be in the sand, right?
The beach sucks.
So you're going to be in one of these levels. And which, by the way, like as much as I love the Battlefield, having put 45 hours into it, I was like, could we not like do a little bit more here? Like give me some castles and fortresses and things to take. But even then I wanted more like conditional objectives in the level, like capture the flag, you know, occupy this space for a specific amount of time. Maybe they like did like a horde or something where you were constantly fending off waves. I wanted to see a little bit more there.
I think a lot leaves to be desired for DLC. I think they will add modes. I think they will add new maps, new scenarios, all that kind of stuff in DLC.
That would be welcome.
Now, whether or not that should have been included in the main game is something to be argued. I think if you're getting 200 plus hours of core gameplay, if you play everything all the way through, I think that's plenty. And I welcome the DLC. I can't wait to play it. It's just, I don't know. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I don't know.
They really knock it out. So where the game really knocks it out of the park, I don't think the story. I think the story's good, but I don't think it's Awakening. It's not Awakening story.
I love it. Awakening story is phenomenal.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's not Awakening story. When I finished Awakening, I was like, holy crap. I did not have that feeling when I finished Three Houses.
I
So I've watched Edelgard's. I've
have.
watched Edelgard's ending, and I don't feel that way about her ending either. And it's not just the ending. It's not just the ending. I'm just saying like that. Because here's the thing. So this is what I've been chewing on all day. I've been chewing on whether or not I'm just like reacting like contrarian, which I don't want to be. But like this is truly how I felt when I finished the game. Like that moment when I was sitting there, I was like, okay, it's done. Like this, I've beat the game.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh my God, I beat this game and now I can't wait to go talk to anybody that'll talk to me about it. Right? There's like a huge level there of like hype.
That's how I was.
Like hypeism.
Yeah. That's how I was. That's how I still am. I'm like, Brian and I get on Pinterest every night and we look at all the Fire Emblem.
See, I'm almost the thing that I wanted to say a minute ago, I'm not trying to throw stones your way, but I'm almost like, I get the sense that you're more interested in the Pinterest and the memes and the fan art and the videos than you are of the game and the story of the game.
No. I'm still
because
playing.
When you get,
I'm playing it a
I
second
know you
route.
are, but you play everything a second route. But like when you talk about it and your voice gets squeaky and you get real excited, it's about those things and not the other things.
I'm just thrilled that other people are enjoying it as much as I am, that it's become sort of a meme culture.
It is very exciting to see so many people getting into Fire Emblem. It is very much like it's captured a moment. Yeah. It's come out in a window. The Switch is the hotness. Everybody's doing the Switch. I'm very excited for Fire Emblem. Oh, I had a thought a minute ago and I tangented off and now I forgot it.
I don't... Well, I'm
keep going. Just keep talking. It'll come back to me.
I know. I'm just trying to think, like, how I should...
Okay, I came back.
Brian says you should see her at tea time. She loved tea time.
He helped me. All right, so the thing with the game knocks this out of the park, and I want to give credit to both. I don't want to say it's one or the other. I think the writing is really, really great. I think the characters, not in the overall arching of the story in the world, but the characters' relations to each other, I think is a tight-knit community. You feel like you're going to school with these other kids. You feel like you're a close-knit group, right?
I see.
Not like worldly figures. Because actually one of the things I was thinking about, like, I didn't really like the villains and like the whole bigger overall plot kind of unfolded too fast. You know, like...
What'd you think of Cornelia?
I barely saw her, by the way.
I know she's apparently a bigger thing in the Blue Lions route.
I just saw her on the screen as like, she holds this territory, but we didn't really cross paths. So I was like, oh, this is a letdown. Anyway, getting back on the point. The characters between them are tight to the point where, and this happens in other Fire Emblem games, but not for the same reasons. I didn't want to kill Edelgard because I wanted Hubert. Like, you feel tied to that character. And in other Fire Emblem games, you get tied to characters because of like their strength and stuff like that. But I think a lot of this was like, I found characters that I like. By the way, Bernadetta was like my favorite. By the time I ended the game, I was like, it's my favorite character. I love her to death. I think a large part of that, though, I think the writing's good. I think a large part of that is the acting. Like, the cast pulls it off. When you're watching these cutscenes, and when you're, not even the cutscenes, when you're watching just the conversations and you're clicking through it, it plays out in a very, like, comfortable way. Like, it feels, yeah, it's like they're having a conversation. It doesn't feel like these lines are canned and they were done at different times. Like, it feels like they're talking to each other. And that's like,
speaking,
you know.
I have to touch on that. I was watching Joe Zija, who is the voice of Claude. He started his Fire Emblem player out blind yesterday on Twitch. He's doing it every Tuesday and Thursday. And he said in the middle of this, I don't remember any of these lines. There were thousands of lines that I had to speak. Mm-hmm. It was over a year ago that I did this recording. Over the course of a year.
Did you do them from home?
For 40 hours in a studio.
So when I interviewed Kyle Hebert, I asked him that specifically. I was like, hey, can you...
Sometimes they do.
Can you tell me like how this works? Like, are you recording with another person? He was like, no. He's like, actually, they send me a list of one-liners, and I go down to my studio in my basement, and I just read them, and I send them back, and they splice it all together. I was like, that's incredible. Yeah. So, and that was the point I was trying to make. Like, the long point was, it feels like they all recorded these together. Like, the way it plays out on screen is it feels like a... Like if you've ever watched like behind the scenes,
they didn't though.
Like anime people like reading lines together.
Sure.
There's a camaraderie there that you can sense.
Sure, they didn't do it for this because he was looking at Manuela and he said, "Who's her voice actress?" And we had to tell him it was Veronica Taylor, and he's like, "I've never met her before, but you know, crazy. She's doing a good job." Yeah, but the other thing was today I got B support between him and Lysithia. And he's teasing her about ghosts. But the way that Joe delivers the line is he starts laughing at the end of the line, like he was actually laughing while he was reading it, and they kept it. And it was so lifelike and so realistic that I'm just like, I think that's why I have more kinship with these characters, is that they seem less stiff and blah, blah,
That's
blah,
true.
blah,
No,
blah
that I
than the
agree
other
with
ones.
you. I think the difference for me is that in, especially like Awakening, not so much Fates, but in Awakening, I think with Awakening, the characters had like a bigger role in the bigger plot. Like they were larger than life, whereas these just feel very like grounded, like they're kids and they all know each other, right? But it's like in Awakening, they were big characters. They had like the world revolved around them and stuff like that.
We have to also mention, I just like can't believe that we've never talked about this. This is the first fully voice acted Fire Emblem title.
And it shows. Like that's the part that really pays off.
Because I mean, in Awakening, you might have like for support conversations, you might have had a or
no
like
way.
something in between there. Yeah, but every single line is recorded and delivered.
Every conversation all the way through. It's really good in that regard. It's really, really good. I did want to say that having taken my path and aligned with Claude, I understand your affinity for him. His voice, just the way his character like carries himself, it's very like you kind of want him around. He's very fun. He's very fun on screen. You're like, man, he's cool. Like, it's a cool guy. I wish he was around more often because he's very funny.
I wish he was around in a lot of places.
He has a lot
and I just
of
won't say
good one-liners
like
and just he's very charismatic on screen. His character, like the way his character goes. So it's good.
It's so fun watching Joe Zija because it's literally Joe Zija's voice.
Yeah,
like he didn't
it's the same
change
thing.
hardly any of it all. He goes, it's so weird hearing myself talk.
Okay. Some of the nitpicky stuff about the game. I was thinking of this the day I beat it. I was trying to think of like final thoughts that I'd bring to Shaq. I think there's a part of me that misses like the sprite look on the maps and stuff. You know, I keep nitpicking about like the visuals. There was something about like that old kind of new thing.
I miss the sprites.
I miss being able to truly pair units together. That was one thing I kind of got tired of towards the end of the game. I was like, I am sick and tired of moving 14 units every single time.
I agree.
I also liked pairing like different partners together and having them battle together. I actually thought it was a good strategic element that I feel like is missing. Sure. You have the adjutants. I finished with 2, but you know, but they're just the 2, you know, like and they don't do a whole lot. It's not the same.
And you have like 30 people in your roster.
But it's not.
And
it's
you
not
can
the
only
same.
use 15.
It's not the same, right? Yeah. Like you could be like, well, you can do that, but it's not the same. It's different. They kind of there, and they level up. It's an easy way to level up people you don't use.
Sure.
But they're not doing as much. Whereas before, they defended, they attacked. They were in every
All
animation.
Right, we gotta stop and talk about this too, because this was an ironic moment. You guys know how much I was crapping on Caspar.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
Carried him all the way to the end.
I still don't like him. I had Edelgard set him as an adjutant in the final battle against Rhea as the dragon. Okay? And she missed her first attack, and then her second attack got her down to 2 HP. Period. And I was like, dang it! And it was the end of my turn, and I was gonna have to get somebody else to hit. And out of nowhere, Caspar just lands the dead blow. Like that's it.
That's amazing.
He ends, and Brian and I are just kind of like,
what?
Did that just happen? Like seriously, because we had both just crapped on him the entire game. We're like, he stole my glory. He stole my moment. He knew that I didn't like him, and he just hated it. But I thought it was kind of like karma on me for giving him crap all the time.
That final battle was great. It was so grand.
My final battle, I don't know what your final battle was.
It was Rhea, the dragon, and that giant
you have
thing.
To fight her.
Yeah.
So she is bad in yours too.
Well, the cutscene, I didn't take the sense that she was bad. The cutscene was like she lost control of her power and was going mad. And all these people turned and you had to stop her. And by the way, so like after I beat her and everything, like she falls into the church and like you just lift her there and it just like faded to black. And I was like, that's it? Like something? Your ending was better. It was better than my ending.
I feel like you could probably because you can't support her.
You can marry her.
And I feel like Yeah, I feel like at the end, after that, it would be a little bit different.
So, and that was the thing when I was looking up the endings and I realized that, I was like, wait a minute. If I killed her and
if she killed, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, like, you don't kill her. She's alive, but she's, like, basically beat to a pulp. I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of weird.
So, in mine, she was inherently evil. She was only using Byleth to resurrect her mother, Sothis.
Yeah.
And she wanted to control humanity through her church. She's basically Seros,
really?
Guys. What?
Like, was there, like, it was that detailed? Because in mine, it was like, she was so depressed and sad and distraught that she put the crest in Byleth to bring back Sothis out of mourning, because even though she knew it was wrong, she couldn't not do it. Like, she had to do it.
I didn't get that.
See, in mine,
part.
she's very paternal and, like, protectionist. She wasn't evil.
See, yeah, she was give her back. She basically like goes after Byleth, like, you stole my mother from me, like, kind of thing.
I didn't get that at all.
So it does apparently
change a lot.
It's in the eye of the beholder.
Dude, that blue lion scene is dope. It is so good. And that's the part of me that I have been thinking this the whole week, and I'm wondering if I had played a different way, if I had come out of this with a completely different kind of like final.
You need to play it again.
I can't. Or at least, you know what? I won't say I can't, and I won't. I just say I don't want to right now. Like, I have put so many hours into this game in 3 weeks. I don't have the time that you have to, like, crush 45-hour games in a week. And it's not that, because you're very committed. It's not that I don't have the time. I do. Obviously, I beat it, and I'm, like, 2 weeks behind you. The difference between you and me is that you're just playing this game. And when I play a game like this, it puts 7 other games on the shelf. You know? So
I just have all the games on the shelf.
I mean, first world problems. I'm not, like, whining about it. I'm just saying, like, for example, I started playing Devil May Cry last night, finally. 5. And I played it for 2 hours, and I wrote Kevin, I was like, I'm absolutely sending you this game as soon as I'm done with it. Why haven't I played this game sooner? Like, it's that type of stuff. There are other games that I got to move to, I got to get to. Because then you start feeling bad, because I'm looking at my VR unit, and I'm like, why do I even have you? If I'm just going to play 45 hours of Fire Emblem and play it again and again and play it over and play it over. I do replay games. I've replayed Breath of the Wild stuff.
You have a lot of units, and I only have a Switch.
One day I might play. I never get rid of my Fire Emblem games. I still have all my 3DSs, and, you know, one day I might come back to it. But I don't think I will, because it's a bigger task to take on, like, coming back to a Fire Emblem. Versus, like, just running through the campaign of Uncharted again, or Last of Us. You know, I've done Last of Us every year for 7 years, so you know, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's a really good game. I'm not trying to mean down on it. I think some of those things to liven it up, and I still think, visually speaking, I don't think it really holds up that well. I really do. I mean, it's not like a great looking game.
I see your gripes with it. I did see what you were talking about, where, like, when it kind of puts a mask over it, where they have to focus on the particles and the graphics.
You know, when you're in the monastery vectors, and you go by, like, the online area, the game, like, my game got, like, super skippy, and it would, like, kind of like slow down, and I'm like, to the point where, because I would always go check it every week I went to explore there, I would go check, and it got to the point where I'd stop going near there. Because I was like, I don't want to keep running. You know, it's not like that big of a deal. It's like 5 seconds, but it was still 5 seconds you don't want to do.
I never noticed.
And just, like, the monastery in general, like, I know I talked about, like, the flat textures, the market, but that's everywhere. Like, the grass, you know. Anytime you're having conversations, like, the backgrounds that are, like, back there. You know, it's not a great looking game. It's just not. It's just not an amazing looking game. It's not saying it's bad or awful and not playable. I'm not saying that at all. It's not like a looker. Right. Where I felt, and the reason I think I draw that hard comparison is I felt like when I bought my 3DS, as we talked about in our 3DS conversation, I bought it for Fire Emblem. And I think I remember I played Fire Emblem, like, with the 3D and the effect, like, it was a looker. I was like, look how great this game looks on 3DS. I don't have that. Like, I can't be like, look how amazing Fire Emblem Three Houses, because it doesn't. Like, it just doesn't, you know, it looks like a 360 game. You know, it's not bad.
It doesn't bother
just not
me.
The same.
It doesn't bother me. This game gives me feels. Oh,
I wish there was more. Another one of the things I kind of had in my head to say is, I wish there was more variety in the monastery. Like, I definitely like the monastery. I think it's a great improvement. Don't get me wrong. I wish there was a little more variety in the planting and the fishing and the things that you can do there. The cooking.
I do. They were very, very
so repetitive. Games. And like even the mini game was like the same thing over and over and over and over again. Sure. Like, let's change it up. Like, why couldn't that fishing game have different levels, you know, that you had to adjust to, you know, like go based on the fish. Planting, like, you didn't even plant. You just went there and clicked the menu. Like, why can't you actually plant or move some ground or watch you do something? Have a cutscene instead of me clicking over and over again. Just do a little animation and go through. Like, that type of stuff.
I agree.
Could liven the game up a little. You know,
just making like real fishing and real farming. That's the last thing.
I mean, it's like, if you're going to go this route, then Mass Effect it, then really go there. It's kind of like
Fire Emblem, the story of,
you know, it's like they just didn't go that far. They kind of went there. They didn't go far enough. And I would have really liked, and I think towards the end of the game was when, like, the first time I went through the monastery, the first 3 months, I was like, this is so much fun. I like finding all these lost items. I wish the lost items, things like this, had more weight. I wish they had more meaning other than your character might like fishing. Who does this go to? This goes to a really big guy who might be really hungry. It's like, come on. It would have been cool if there was like more like trade questy stuff. Like if we got like Zelda and there's like a trade sequence, like to get the thing, you had to do the thing to get the other thing and all that. Do
you remember that
I did recruit Hilda, by the way. That's one of the things you can do in the church path.
She's awesome. There was one of those like trade
her romance scene's the best
like,
romance scene.
5 and 6. Oh my gosh, she's annoying, but she's funny, and oh my gosh, she's a beast. I have like 45 hit times 2 with her right now.
Sorry for interrupting you, but what was the trade sequence thing you were telling me?
Oh, there's like a trade thing where you find items one day, and Catherine and Shamir are arguing.
Yeah. You gotta pick, yeah, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I mean a little bit more. Yeah. It would have also been cool if, you know, not every item was a blue light. You know, like if they actually had like something.
The Amiibo ones are green.
Yeah, but if they weren't just like a little light pixel, if you could actually do something,
See what you mean.
Just stuff like that. Yeah. And it, you know, it's not all for naught. Like again, these are all nitpicky things, but I think overall, after you play the same map 2 or 3 times, after you do the fishing game 2 or 3 times, after you plant 2 or 3 times, you start to go, why do I keep doing it? Like it literally is the same that thing. Way. You know, it's the same thing. It's the same rewards. It's all the same.
It's funny because, you know, I am always one of those people that's completely impatient, but I don't mind doing the same thing over and over in that regard.
Hey, and like when it's fun, it doesn't matter. You know, like how many days did I log in and find the money rock? You know, it's the same thing over and over again. So, you know, but I'm just trying to compare it. Just trying to bring a little bit. And I think ultimately, my ultimate story comes down to the story. I like the story, but it felt like my Fire Emblem story, and this might be the thing that because I took the Church of Saros path. My final thoughts on the story was it felt safe for Fire Emblem.
Wasn't safe on my end.
I did like the betrayal with her dad was probably the highlight where I was like, ooh, you know, like that's where I was like, yeah.
See, I got it today where she just basically usurps her father and takes control of the thing. If you don't go and see her claim the empire, where he passes
I
on
meant
to
Viola's
her.
father, Geralt.
Oh, that. I
needed
what you
more
mean.
of that.
I see what you mean.
Like Fates is full of that stuff. You know, like Fates has got that and then some. You know,
it's all family drama.
Yeah, and like this
family
one was.
Drama.
Well, I'm not saying bad things about it. Again, I'm not saying that I'm down on the game. Like to put it in friends, if I was reviewing this game, I would be like, it's an 8.5 or higher. I'd be like, it's an 88. You know, like I would put it somewhere in there. It's a great game, but is it on that? Like, is it Xenoblade 2? Is it Breath of the Wild? No, I wouldn't like go that far with it.
Really?
No.
I
think there's a clear distinction between these great games. You know what? I almost feel the same way with Three Houses. I kind of feel with Odyssey.
It's my 3rd favorite game from the Switch.
Feels kind of safe. Yeah.
Xenoblade 2, Breath of the Wild, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Those are my top 3.
Doing a big disservice to Ape Out. You play some Ape Out.
I love the game. I really do. I hope that the series keeps going this way.
I think they have to. You can't like open Pandora's box and, you know, not go this way.
They're going to give voice actors tons of money.
And so that's the thing is, and ultimately, all of these nitpicks that I'm saying, you think of if they realized half of that, what this game could be, and I think that's like the jarring thought that's my takeaway from this game is like, what could they do if people moved around the monastery, if the quests were interconnected and woven together, if the game had a bit more polish and looked a little bit better, and they did all this different stuff, all of a sudden now you're onto something like truly special in today's, in 2019 compared to other games on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Anything else?
No, man. We spent 45 minutes on Fire Emblem. People are going to be really mad.
People or Kevin? See, I think a lot of times
there are a couple
Kevin
of people
thinks
that were mad.
it's people, but it's just Kevin.
Tom Servo hurt my feelings today, man. He really
Why?
did. That he said that when is the Fire Emblem...
Then go listen to another Nintendo podcast. This is our Nintendo podcast, and we're Fire Emblem fans. I by the way, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not going to apologize to anyone. I love that we've covered this game as much as we have, because I kind of feel like when games like this come out, they get their 15 minutes on the podcast and everybody moves on. What's the next game? When's the next Direct? When are the Super Nintendo games? It's like, guys,
It's true.
there's Fire Emblem that just happened. Like, play it. Talk about it. Even like when I've listened to some other games, like they bring on, typically, I don't want to call anybody out, but typically you go listen to some of the more popular podcasts on the internet from bigger outlets. They'll bring on somebody on the podcast that you've never heard before. And they'll be like, well, we don't play Fire Emblem, but this weirdo does. Hey, tell us, what did you think of the game? I've heard a few of those.
This weirdo.
I've heard a few of those. Yeah, because they'll come on and they'll be like, well, it's about these horny kids, and they're doing them like, oh, that's cool. Fire Emblem, great game.
So horny.
I like that you and I like that we play it differently. I like that we have different takeaways from it. I think we cover, I feel like
I still want to wring your neck.
Fire Emblem is like our super sweet spot. Like, I don't think you could find a better game for us because we bring such opposite things to it, but together we cover the game almost over exhaustively. With so much of it.
Kara's the crazy kid that goes all in, and Donnie's like, it's aight for what it does.
I played the campaign. No, I wasn't saying that about Awakening, but I didn't play Awakening twice. I played Awakening.
You didn't play Awakening twice?
Played it one time.
Man,
see, look at you. You're like, you gotta play it again.
I've played Awakening twice, and I wanted to play it a third time, and I haven't.
See? This is why we're great for Fire Emblem. And I do think it's cool. I like it. When we hit this off with golf and Fire Emblem all those years ago, I think it's cool because we're listening to all these other different people. Not that they're doing their podcast wrong, but I listen to a lot of Nintendo podcasts, and they're talking about new things and moved on. And here we are.
We're nerding out.
Yeah, we're hitting the Fire Emblem because we love it. It's a passion project, and I think it's cool. And I was thinking, I was like, man, if you were a Fire Emblem fan, this is the podcast for you. Like, you should be listening to Nintendo Shack. It's like, man, we've got you covered. We're going to hit you with all this stuff. You're going to hear about memes and fan art and all kinds of stuff.
I'll say one more thing before we leave. I think if you go forward with this current Fire Emblem thing, I'd like to see an offshoot where it's like classic Fire Emblem, where we do have those sprites, and it's more like it's more like
a remix,
what we
like
saw
an homage.
with Awakening, sort of. But it's like Pokemon Let's Go, and then the Fire Emblem Classic, or something like that. So that way, people that really enjoyed the early RPG series could go back to that if they wanted to.
If you're going to go that way, I would actually say that in-between game should be focused, like almost acutely focused on more battling gameplay and less story and voiceover. Like one of them has like the monastery.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's more classic.
Yeah, so like Fire Emblem Tactics, and then Fire Emblem the main series, and then Fire Emblem Tactics, and then Fire Emblem the main series. Where Fire Emblem the main series, we had 20 chapters, which, like there's a lot of battles in there, don't get me wrong. But like the other one could just be battle after battle. So it's like 120 chapters of just nonstop battle.
Okay, that's too much.
I'm just saying
I'm
thinking like I have like Into the Breach, Advance Wars type stuff in my head. Like go that way would be super cool. You could always expand on a game like that too. You could do it like in seasons because that's real easy to churn out. As we saw on 3DS, they could churn that out real fast. And I would adore if they went back to like smaller battlefields with sprites, like Fire Emblem, not like Heroes, but more like Heroes.
Yeah, I still have a heart for that. Like, that's how Awakening was, and that was my
Kind of
first
missed
game.
it.
And
We didn't really touch on this. We got real excited in the first trailer about the battalions and seeing, like, the thing.
oh, yeah.
They're there. If you zoom all the way in, like, these other characters appear around your characters, and the assumption is that they're always there. But I didn't play at that level because I want to see the map at all times. I had this idea when they showed the trailer of what we were going to have. Remember, I even said it then. This Dynasty Warriors, like, grand effect. That's not there. And I kind of feel like that's another avenue that they could go, and they lean more into that. Make the maps are so big, but they felt empty because there was so much space between your units. Like, fill that space in with the units that your units have.
Yeah, I can see
I also
that.
think it'd be cool if we introduced, like, if you controlled monsters and had, like, big tanks and stuff. You're not always fighting them, but you get to bring them on your own. Like,
With some Valkyria Chronicles.
See, and there's a large part of me that I was thinking this I've been thinking this since Sunday. I was like, I kind of like Valkyria Chronicles 4 more. And I was like, I'm wondering, like, how much of that is...
That's a little blasphemous.
It's not.
That's a little
It's
blasphemous.
not. I was wondering, like, how much of that could they, like, add into this to, like, ooh, it's really good, though. Valkyria Chronicles is really good. If Valkyria Chronicles had a big Nintendo stamp on it, you would love it.
I gotta finish it.
It's
I'm
really
not saying
good.
it was
It's really
bad.
good.
I just haven't had the time to go back to
I do
it.
think it was better. If I had to choose one, you're like, pick one to play. I would rather replay Valkyria Chronicles 4 than Fire Emblem Three Houses. I would. I'm not saying either are bad. I would rather play that one. I'm more connected to those characters than a lot of these characters. I am. You know, another thing... we keep talking, I keep going. You know another thing? I really miss character customization. Did you ever get more than... Did you ever get more than 3 outfits? I have 3. I have Byleth, and then I have the Academy, and then the DLC Academy, or the Pre-Order Academy, or whatever the other one we have. With the cape or without the cape. It's not even a different outfit, it's just with the cape and without the cape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's the only ones I
You used to
have.
be able to
put
beauty marks
the generic,
on the cheeks, or change the eyes, or change the hair, have short hair, long hair.
and I never did that.
I miss all that. I do. I miss all that.
I just like having your generic
And
person.
I feel that Byleth is kind of generic. Like, I'm not...
But they explain why. Silent, doesn't laugh a lot, doesn't cry a lot. It's because their heart is literally taken over. Don't roll your eyes. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. That's another thing. Personally, I would like to see that go back to. I want to be invested in my character more. I wasn't really invested in Byleth too much at all. She's just who I play the game through. So
I like Byleth a lot. There's a lot of good Byleth art.
He keeps it like, I love Claude so much. There's a lot of great art of Claude out there. I love Byleth so much. There's a lot. You should see what people are doing with like, you keep going to this.
Hey, I love it because it is an artist.
Oh, no, I get it.
It's a way for your imagination to go rampant.
As somebody who has combed through plenty of Corrin images, I get it.
Oh my God,
I get it. So I'm with you. I get why, but yeah, definitely, I'm not to your level. All right, that'll do it this week. I hope you enjoyed our Fire Emblem Three Houses spoiler talk and all of that jazz. Caroline is going to keep playing the game, so I'm sure we'll keep covering it. And I'll find something else to play. I'm going to play something. So buy some indie games and get going. So that'll do it for us. Next week, we'll be back, and we hope you are too. And stay tuned for September to Remember. We've been kind of teasing about it. We've been putting some things in the Discord. If you're not a member of the Discord, you don't follow us on Twitter, posting some images. I said it to a new listener. Hopefully he's listening to the show. We have a new listener that Rebecca actually recruited. She was like, hey, he was asking, he was like, do you have any shows? And she was like, you should listen to Nintendo Shack. And I told him, I was like, look, I hope you listen to the show. I hope you like it, and I hope you keep us around. If you don't keep us around, at least stick with us through September, because we've got some things planned for September that might appeal to your interest. So if you're new with us, at least stick with us through September. You might like what you came for. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll see you next week, Koopalings. Whenever you're ready.
All right. This is Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening. And I forgot the line already. What?
This has been a production of the Play Some Video Games Podcast Network. Find more great content at playsomevideogames.com.